Thank you, Anthony. And thank you to all of you around the league for joining us here at the Fantasy Forum. It's an honor to be a part of this group of great owners, three of the best personalities in the league. I'm coming to you live from the league office with my week one picks, and we're going to start out with the Bold and the Beautiful versus By the Grace of Louisville. Look for this one to be a battle of the tight ends, as the much talked about Zach Sudfield should put up big numbers, but in the end, it's going to be too much Tony Gonzalez and a steady performance by Peyton Manning and company, while Andy Dalton and Giovanni Bernardi struggle against a stout Chicago defense. Look for By the Grace of Louisville by about 14 to 20 points in this one. Next up, we have the Cowtown Rebels versus the Johnsonville Juggernauts. Now, this is a sibling rivalry, perhaps also a rivalry between brothers-in-law. We will see about that. In this one, I look for the Rebels to go ahead and pull ahead early and hold off Johnsonville for a close win. I think it'll just be too much Jamal Charles versus Jacksonville, and also look for DeMarco Murray to have a respectable game along with Tony Romo. Cowtown Rebels by a nose. Next up, we have the Bellyachin Jamaicans versus the North of Nowhere Nincompoops. Now, this is a matchup of two of the best owners in Family Tree Fantasy Football, and two owners that had really solid drafts. But I got to go with the Nincompoops in this one, simply based on the fact that Green Bay has shown an inability to stop the read option, and I'm looking for a big day from Colin Kaepernick and company. North of Nowhere Nincompoops by a solid 10 to 14 points. Next up, we have House of Pain versus the Graceland Lulu Birds. And I think this is going to be a low-scoring affair. I'm not looking to see a lot of production out of House of Pain's running backs. I think he will get some good productions from the receivers, and Drew Brees should be involved in a big-time shootout with the Atlanta Falcons. I like House of Pain to outscore the Graceland Lulu Birds in a low-scoring affair. House of Pain. Next up, we have FTFFL's oldest rivalry as the San Antonio Angry Ants visit the recently relocated Austin Ackie Men. Now, the Ackie Men did have a fantastic draft. The Ants, an average draft. But look for them to get the best in this week one matchup, as the matchups really are in their favor. Adrian Peterson should have a big game against Detroit, while Maurice Jones-Drew should get on track early against Kansas City. Now, the Ackie Man will get some good production out of LaShawn McCoy versus Washington, but all in all, I'm looking for the Angry Ants to pull out the victory in this one. Angry Ants by 6. And finally, we have Liquored Up Kicker hosting the Guys on Buffaloes. Now, this is a great matchup of last year's Blood Bowl. Anne's looking to defend her title here in week one, get off to a good start, while Joe is looking to get payback, quite honestly. And, well, while the Andrew Luck should have a big day going up against the Oakland defense, AJ Green may struggle against Chicago. I like the Matt Ryan New Orleans matchup to put the Guys on Buffalo over the top. Also look for Trent Richardson to have a big breakout day in week one. The Guys on Buffalo get their payback by 20 plus in this one. TGOB. And now it's time to talk about the top performers for week one. I'm looking for a big day, as I mentioned earlier, from Matt Ryan going up against New Orleans' soft pass defense. Matt Ryan should put up 35 to 40 points this week. So pencil in Matt Ryan as the top scoring quarterback for week one fantasy football. At running back, I like Jamal Charles in week one going up against Jacksonville. Look for Jamal Charles to put up a solid 25 to 30 points against last year's 30th ranked rush defense. Jamal Charles will have a big day. Pencil him in, top scoring running back, week one fantasy football. At wide receiver, I'm liking Dez Bryant's week one matchup versus the New York Giants. Des Bryant, look for a solid 25 to 35 points. Des Bryant, pencil him in. Top scoring wide receiver, Week 1 fantasy football. And now we'll look at defense. When it comes to defense, it's more about how bad the offense is. And in Week 1, I like the Tampa Bay Buccaneers to put up a solid amount of points against the New York Jets. Look for a solid 18 to 24 points from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense. More good news for the Cowtown Rebels. Tampa Bay, pencil them in. Top scoring defense, Week 1 fantasy football. So thank you for listening to my picks. This is Thomas signing off. Back to you, Anthony. Here's to an exciting Week 1 of Family Tree fantasy football.